Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. Home theater seating isn't the only furniture they carry, though they've got tons of home theater seating. They also have bars, pub tables, poker tables, bar stools, pub seating, poker table seating to match. Visit Games and Things this week right off Lovell Road out in West Knoxville. Just a great place, and if you don't have a chance to get out there, you can view ourgameroom.com to learn more about this terrific business by Scott and Lisa Mellon. They've been doing it for more than 40 years. Games and Things. All right, let's welcome in our football analyst today. Bob Hodge joins us. Bob, longtime sports writer, and you've been here since show one, way back in 2003. Well, not consistently, but and not in this building, but since show one. So, Bob, welcome in.
Now, if you had your choices.
And by the way, I do want to say, for those of you that follow me on Twitter, all I do there is just teases for the show. So I don't know why you follow me, but thanks. I teased today that Will Overstreet was going to be here. Will couldn't make it, so I apologize for those of you like, where's Will? You're just going to have to deal with Bob.
Really?
Let me show you, there was a bit of bad news that came out for the Vols this week. Let's put this up here. It came out on Friday. It actually happened a while back, but the news came out on Friday. 3 Vol football players were suspended indefinitely after they were arrested on preliminary misdemeanor drug possession charges. The story also involves people barging into a student's dorm room, taking a number of items, one person allegedly assaulting another. It seems like there's more to come out of this than what we know right now. But the 3 guys are Martavis French, who's one of the Whitehaven guys that came in last year, 4-star linebacker, and then you got a couple of new signees, defensive lineman, linebacker, 3-star, 4-star. Not to be Debbie Downer, but Bob, you know my reaction to this because we were on the phone. My first reaction to this was just pull the plug on this thing and let's just stop playing football at the University of Tennessee. I mean, I don't want to be too ugly here, but is there anything, and it's a mini rant because I mean it, is there anything to be positive about with this football? It seems like, okay, now we're through the worst of it, and then this. And you go, oh, well, good. Jeremy Pruitt signed some real class guys to come in, too. You look at the NCAA cloud hanging over them, rumors of 50-plus violations. You have a staff that was far from the first choice. You have a thin roster, getting thinner. Talent level, which for all the people that say, oh, there's plenty of talent. You won 3 games last year, so I don't know where the talent is. Half the talent that was here is now gone in the transfer portal, and you're bleeding money. And with the NCAA stuff, if they hit you with probation, it came out this week, I know VolQuest reported it, that Nike could come back and say, yeah, our contract says that if you get on probation, we can cut some of the money we pay you. So again, I ask you, is there anything in the world to be positive about right now when it comes to this football program?
Boy, it's hard to come up with anything. I guess if you're wanting to be positive, okay, spring practice is getting ready to start, which means there's a little bit of football going to be happening, which is always better than no football. But that's not positive about the program.
So the only positive thing about the program is we're going to have a spring practice.
We're going to have a spring practice. But no, when I read that story this morning, and I think Willis is maybe considered out of your signees, maybe the highest rated one that you still have. So does he ever play? Does he join that ever-lengthening list of guys that will never even dress out for the University of Tennessee? We don't know. Obviously, that's still early. But no, I think this is it. I don't know how it can get worse, which by saying that, somebody's going to go, oh, yeah, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah.
And it can get worse. But no, I cannot think of anything positive. Maybe one thing is you've got a guy who's got a wide open offense, and it looks like your quarterback depth may be pretty good. There you go. It looks like you've got good quarterback depth on paper that might be able to fit his offense, and that could be exciting. And we'll see if any of those quarterbacks are still here come May.
Jimmy, anything to be positive about right now? I mean, there must be.
Y'all are obviously missing something. All of them were defensive players. So offensively, you still have a chance to score points.
There you go.
Yeah, so there you go. And also there may be another football player involved in this incident. So we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, it doesn't look good. I can understand why Heupel was given a lengthier contract to try to deal with all this mess that they're going to have. Tennessee's going to have at least a 1-year bowl ban, maybe 2. They're going to have at least a reduction of 8 scholarships, I think. That may be more. So and then you have, on top of that, you have this arrest. it's just been a mess over there, hasn't it?
You know, and I was thinking about something else too that plays into this is you know, the team leadership from the players. You know, Heupel's just been here a few weeks. Let's see where that ends up and how that goes. And I was sitting there, if you look through their roster, where does your leadership come from? And I came up with one name, and y'all disagree with it. Cade Mays. Is Cade Mays probably not going to be the leader of this team going into spring practice? He played at Georgia, had success, and he comes back here, local guy. You look around, and that's a very big intangible.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's always said, well, if we still had so-and-so from the 1957 team, boy, that was a leader. But, you know, in lieu of an Al Wilson or a Henry To'oTo'o, where does your leadership come from? And I sit there, and once again, you look at the roster and you go, wow, Cade Mays seems like the only natural person to step up and okay, guys, I'm going to be the leader of this bunch.
You want your quarterback to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
You don't need a quarterback to be.
Right. Here's another one to watch for in that leadership role, I think, would be Austin Pope. I know he entered the transfer portal. He decided to come back. He's a fifth-year guy. I think that he could be. I had a conversation with him when he was debating on the transfer stuff, but was told that the players that stuck around, and there was actually a coach on the staff that told me this, that the players that stuck around are really invested. They understand how they screwed up, and there were some chemistry issues within that team and so forth, and they feel like this team is more dedicated than it had been previously in the limited amount of practice or off-season workouts they have had. But I would put Pope in that category.
Well, I mean, it's one of the issues they ran into last year. You never replaced Juwan Jennings and
Daniel Batuli.
Daniel Batuli.
You had Callaway.
And the safety who wound up at the Ravens, whose name I'm blanking out at the moment.
Nigel Warrior.
Nigel Warrior, yeah. It's what happens when you spring forward. In an hour from now, my mind would have had that. But yeah, Nigel Warrior and Juwan Jennings were two guys we talked about last year. Will you be able to replace them? And you weren't. The other thing that makes it tough on replacing leaders is, all right, we're still in COVID world at the moment. So you're still not out doing normal team activities the way you would pre-COVID. So does that hold you back? Do these guys develop leadership and bonds within a team? You know, I just don't know that you've got a lighthouse guy. You know, he'll lead the way. Maybe it'll be Pope, maybe it'll be Mays, maybe it'll be a quarterback. Right now, I don't know. And the problem is, it just feels like you were on a runaway train, and you jumped off the runaway train. It's like, okay, that's as bad as it gets. But you landed in quicksand. It's like every time you think it's over, oh, by the way, there were 3 guys arrested and indefinitely suspended. Which normally you go, that's college football, that happens. But right now, I
because where you're at with your roster.
I wasn't around for what Doug Dickey took over from, I guess it was Jim McDonald. I don't remember. I was a kid. I don't remember how bad it was in Major's first year from what he got from Battle. But since then, you've never been lower than what you are right now. And you've had some lows, but I don't think you've ever been lower. Just in terms of grand scheme of things, that's how bad it is.
Agreed.
I think you're right. It is interesting, though, the scholarship numbers are not as low as I thought because you had about 10 players that decided to stay that were seniors.
Yeah.
So the numbers aren't that bad, but I don't care how many stars you have on your name, really. And I understand that you need a lot of great players to win championships. But most of the players on this roster, in my opinion, have not played to their star level.
Well, and we showed this last week when we talked about you are one of the leaders in the SEC, I think number 2 in terms of most guys coming back, which you would think that's great. But then you look at another metric, which is the production that you're returning. You're like 117 out of 127. So the 10 guys you're bringing back, they haven't done anything. You know, in terms of, we got all this back. No, you just got guys. You got bodies back, which, hey, take the bodies where you are right now. But they all have something to prove. I think you're right. You've got a lot of guys who, whether it was Butch Jones or whether it was Jeremy Pruitt, your star rating was here, and you didn't get that potential. You didn't hit it.
Kind of reminds me of what Bobby Johnson, the former Vanderbilt coach, said one time when his offense was horrible. The good news is 10 offensive starters are coming back. The bad news is 10 offensive starters are coming back. And so, I actually, when I look at Tennessee, it's like the defensive line with a lot of these guys coming back, maybe the strength of the team or a strength of the team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going to be interesting. All right. Could Tennessee have handled this whole? It's been 12 weeks, exactly 12 weeks from yesterday, that the Jeremy Pruitt, Texas A&M, that day happened and the story broke. Could Tennessee have handled this mess better in hindsight? I mean, the thought is now, sure they could. But when you look at the totality of this, could they have? We'll debate that next. Coming back on the Sports Source.